Hey, I'm Jake Berry along with Clay Williams, and this is the Compadre system. How you doing, Clay?
Doing great, Jake. Week one of the Valley High School football season is in the books, and I'm celebrating by hanging out at El Hueso del Fray, a little coffee shop, a little jazz bar in Brownsville tonight. So enjoying some live tunes. They're going to start up here in a while, and getting ready for week two of the football season.
Yeah, I am still used to week 0. I know it's week 1, but I still put it on there. There were some week 1, or some teams played like it was week 0. It was very interesting because there were some surprises, both good and bad, this last week.
Good and bad. I'm interested what you think a bad surprise is. Inform me, please.
Well, I do know. One of our traditional kings of the hill got skunked playing at Corpus School. I'm not going to name names, but Brownsville's a very pleasant surprise. Both Brownsville, Hangover, Lopez, even Pace, the effort they put in this weekend, very telling for Brownsville. I'm impressed by what I've seen out of Brownsville.
Hey, that's why I'm here. I'm in Brownsville now because it is the capital of high school football in the Rio Grande Valley. The teams went 4-2 last week, and one of those losses was to another Brownsville school. Brownsville went 2-0 versus McAllen last week, which is what probably very few people were predicting, except, of course, me. Now, to be fair, I did predict Brownsville-Hanna would beat McAllen Memorial. I did not predict, however, that Brownsville-Lopez would beat Mac High. That one was a bit of a shocker to me as well. But Brownsville Veterans looked fantastic. Brownsville Pace lost in overtime to Sherryland, or else they would have had a huge win as well. Pace could have easily beaten Sherryland. And then Rivera, of course, losing to Veterans, but and Porter going out to Port Isabel and getting their first win. And let's see, first win in how long? How long? I got it right here. No, it's been a long time for Porter. I gotta get it there. It has been, there it is. 22 game losing streak broken by Brownsville Porter at Port Isabel this past Friday. That's pretty impressive as well.
Yeah, I was actually at the Brownsville Lopez Mac High game. They look impressive, and 2 years ago I don't think we would have thought this about Brownsville Lopez, but they've slowly picked it up.
Yeah, no, they have, and I think the reason I maybe didn't pick them in week 1 is just because they just had their coach hired a little over a month ago, and anybody would think that there would maybe be continuity problems there, but Lopez looked like Armando Gutierrez had been their coach for the last 5 years. It's not just coming straight down from Denton over the summer. So I'm interested. What do you think was the biggest upset out of all the upsets that people had? And I'm you don't have to call Hangover McAllen Memorial an upset. I mean,
okay,
because I picked it.
Okay, I'm going to do this one because I did pick this one. I'm actually impressed by, because in the past, Rio Hondo and Juarez Lincoln have played very close games. And remember, Juarez Lincoln had, made the playoffs 2 years ago, didn't make it last year, but they had almost kind of created something good. Now, their enrollment is low compared to the other La Jolla schools, as far as 6A. But I was impressed by Rio Hondo really, all of a sudden stepping on the gas and going the other day.
What were they?
41
11 points down.
Yeah, and then to come back and then win 41-21, going away. That's incredible.
Yeah, it really is. It's a testament to Rio Hondo and them able to do that on the road. And let's be fair, Juarez Lincoln doesn't have 6A numbers. They don't even have 5A numbers. Yeah, that's why they schedule teams like Rio Hondo, because they've got about the equal amount of numbers, and Rio Hondo is a strong program every year. So Juarez Lincoln wants to do that. That way they know they're not going to get outmanned, outgunned, by a team that's got 4 deep on the depth chart going against them. But that's why Juarez Lincoln did it. But yes, it was extremely impressive by Rio Hondo to go on the road and do that.
Who's yours?
Porter over Port Isabel. Porter over Port Isabel, I don't know if that's my biggest one. But the Cowboys had 2 100-yard rushers. You know how much they averaged? They averaged 7 yards per rush. That's
Wow.
pretty impressive by Brownsville Porter. That'll do that. And they held the Tarpons to only 70 yards rushing. This is, a Port Isabel offense that is used to, taking running backs and doing a lot with them. That was a great one. Like I said, Hannah McCall Memorial. Miguel Payan is incredible. He might have been my performer of the week this past week offensively anyway. 112 yards receiving, two touchdowns, and 7 extra points hit. How about that? That's not bad. That's pretty good. But in my opinion, I think the biggest upset of the week was Mission over Mission Veterans, because I think that people were thinking because Andrew Gilpin was back and because he had receivers that Mission Veterans was one of the best teams in the Valley. And they may end up being one of the best teams in the Valley. But they lost so many people off both their offensive and defensive lines, and you could see that plain as day when they took on Mission and lost the Battle of Conway for the first time in 5 years this past Friday, which is that was the very first regular season game at the brand new Tom Landry Hall of Fame Stadium, and the Eagles, Big Brother, they kind of made a claim for it as their own.
Yeah, and I was impressed because you look at Mission the last couple of years. They put some nice little runs together, haven't made the playoffs, and then to beat a playoff caliber team in Mission Vets with one of the stud quarterbacks in the Valley, that's a big deal. I will tell you this. Oh, here I go, knocking the earphones out.
Here he goes again.
Yes, Roma Rio. And I know both of them are a little depleted in some aspects, but you're entering district right away, and you play somebody that's in Starr County with you, and to lose by 1 point, it's a little difficult. In overtime.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's if we're foreshadowing what that district's going to be like, but it's impressive.
No, yeah. I think it's definitely impressive. Roma obviously at home wanted to show something, and more importantly, I think the Roma coach Frank Villanueva, he got a chance to beat his alma mater, and that had to feel pretty good. He went in there and said, "Boys, this game isn't about me; it's all about you." But man, if you were to get a win over high school, I'd sure be happy. And I think they were. The Gladiators are running the ball, and they're running the ball well, and I think that they're going to have something to say about their district when it comes down to it.
Now, I've heard some really good things about Harlingen South. I've heard that they're a well-coached, really, really up-and-coming team. And so, not that I was picking against Edinburgh by any means, but I was impressed that the Bobcats were able to beat Harlingen South.
Well, not only that, but what exactly did? Hold on one second. What exactly did Coach Leha say to the team at halftime for them to come out? And what did the Bobcats outscore them? 34-7 in the second half.
Yeah.
I mean that's a big turnaround. The Bobcats have a terrific backfield. Everybody knows about Benavides, Harlan Benavides, but Matt Cruz is an experienced quarterback, gets the job done, and them to come out and be down at halftime and to come out and outscore a Harlingen South team 34-7 tells me a lot about this Edinburgh team. It's one of the reasons why I put them in the top 10 to start the season, and they proved me right. Now, like you say, Harlingen South's going to be a team to be reckoned with. They seem to be better and better. They've had a trouble, with a little bit of lack of talent, a little lack of depth, but it looks to me like they're coming over the hump. And Coach Brian Ritchie over there with the Hawks, I think is going to see some. He's seeing a lot of progress from that team.
Yeah, and it looks like, and this is just me saying it, but it looks like Harlingen may be on the upward slide. They're coming back.
Whew. Oh my goodness, that was a beatdown of tremendous proportions. Yeah, I told you when I picked Harlingen to beat Pioneer, I said this team wants to come out and make a statement. Nobody saw them in the postseason last year for the first time in 11 years.
Yeah.
It was crazy. So they wanted to come out and say, hey, remember us? We're back. We can do it. And Harlingen was extremely impressive. That was one of the more impressive showings of, 64-17 over a team that's expected to make the playoffs in Pioneer that's saying something. And, I think the Big Red fans who came out in droves to Bogus Stadium wanted to see something like that, and the Cardinals gave it to them.
Yeah, and I think last but not least for me, my surprise is, I knew that Vela was going to be good. They're good every year. But the way they took out Laredo United from the get-go, it wasn't like, it was a close game and then they stretched it out. They blew them away in the beginning, and those points that you see are pretty much second team points. First team versus second team for Laredo United.
Let me be perfectly clear. There is a tier of really good teams in the Rio Grande Valley, and it looks like Harlingen is on that tier, and it looks like McCallum Memorial and Brownsville Hanna are on that tier, and maybe Edinburgh is on that tier. But let's be very clear with everything. Vela is a step above everyone else in the valley with just the amount of talent that they have. They had, Christian Flores going nuts. They had a defense that was killing it, that was destroying a United Longhorns team that prides themselves on being able to score almost at will. And they didn't even break the glass on Frankie Zuniga.
Mm-hmm.
They've still got him. And we've seen what he can do in the past. Vela, the amount of talent on that Vela team is completely ridiculous. I'm not going to go out. I'm not going out on a limb to just say I think they're going to go 10-0, and I don't think they're going to get stopped until the third round of the playoffs. It's just like last year, in my opinion. With or without, whatever Pioneer quarterback they might have had. It's obvious to me that they've got enough in the tank to be the best in the Valley and maybe the best in South Texas.
Yeah, I think, when you look at Vela, I still want to see Weslaco East. They went up north on Saturday, played San Antonio Manor. And, we don't know much about Manor. We've never really seen them before. At least I haven't in 15 years. But, Weslaco East, I still think is one of those teams you can put up there. I know that they know what they are. And so you never have to worry about Weslaco East. And just like McCallum Memorial, they know exactly what they are. They're running teams.
Yeah.
Littleton losing in non-district really doesn't surprise me because he plays different people in different spots, trying to figure out what's the best fit. And I think, proof's in the pudding. Every time he gets the district, he wins. So, I don't think he has to be too worried. I am surprised with Weslaco. Weslaco surprised the hell out of me. And I was at that game. Oh yeah, you were there on the opposite side. I really thought Rowe was going to win coming into it. I thought, Weslaco is a great story, running team that goes to pass. I figured it was one year more away, but they looked really good passing the ball and running the ball. Their defense was stout.
Oh yeah. Like Jacob Cavazos, their quarterback, not to be confused with Stan's quarterback, Jacob Cavazos, but Weslaco's Jacob Cavazos, very impressive, was able to, do the run-pass option and get lots of yards early in the game when Rowe was giving it to him. And then when Rowe stopped him, then he was able to make the passes that he needed to make. In that third and fourth quarter, they were out there on the field. They were making first down after first down, and Weslaco was really able to grind Rowe's defense down and get the big plays when they needed to. But what really surprised me is what you said. Their defense was stout. Mm-hmm. This is a road team that is supposed to be one of the higher scoring offenses in the Valley. And Weslaco clamped down on them and kept them from doing anything they wanted to do. I was extremely impressed. And think about this, because, I talked to Coach Michael Salinas, just for a half second after the game. And, I said, congratulations, Coach. That was a good win. He goes, yeah, it was a good win. It was sloppy, though. And he was right. That's the great thing. I talked about it with Scott Harrison on the broadcast the other day. It was a great performance. They were dominant on offense. They were dominant on defense, but they had 10 false starts on offense. Weslaco did. So you think those guys won't be running this week? You think Salinas won't be getting on them? And, he's like, who cares if you won? You were sloppy. You have 10. Because he's right. If you have 10 false starts in the playoffs, you're dead.
Yeah.
You're done. So Weslaco they have a lot of potential, but they've still got a ways to go. But man, did they show that they're going to be one of the teams to be reckoned with in that district, because that was a very impressive performance against McAllen-Rowe, I thought.
Now, what's your take on PSJA? Because PSJA went up, played Flower Bluff, and they lost. I think it was 33-28. Let me see. Yeah, 33-28.
Yeah.
What's your take on that? Because Flower Bluff's no chump.
Well, here's my take on it. PSJA played a terrific first half. Unfortunately, there are two halves, and it looked like Flower Bluff was able to make the adjustments to the second half, and PSJA maybe was a little flustered in that second half, and Flower Bluff was able to come from behind. This is a PSJA team that is still learning how to win. They were learning how to win in the middle of the season last year, but Coach Lupe will have that team improved, I think. This is one of those learning things. PSJ showed they can score on teams like Flower Bluff. They can go on the road, and they can play really well, but they just didn't finish. The great teams learn how to finish. That's what the Bears need to learn.
Well, somebody that got to extract some revenge was PSA North. They took it out on PSA Memorial, and you have to remember last year, PSA Memorial came out and beat PSA North with, less talent. And PSA North was hurt last year, but still. But they got to extract some revenge. They're not playing the same district anymore. But it had to feel good for Kaufman's team to come out and really put a statement out there.
Yeah, I think all of those Tri-City matchups are always big deals. I think they're a little bigger than we make them out to be. I think they're pretty big rivalries. If Raiders can beat Wolverines and Bears can beat Javelinas and everything, I think it's a pretty big thing. But yeah, PSA North had to be pretty happy with a win like that, especially with all the problems they had last year. To come in and show and to show off some of those transfers they've got, because they got a couple as well. It wasn't just Edinburgh Vela, but PSA North got a couple of really good players coming in, and for PSA North to show those guys off and to put together a full game, which they weren't able to do a lot of last year, I think that's a big spark for Coach Marcus Kaufman and his team. I really do think so.
Where do you put Mercedes after this win? It was a narrow win against Edinburgh North. Remember, Mercedes lost a ton of talent on the offensive side, some on the defensive side. So they're filling holes. But Edinburgh North's been decimated by transfers also. It's not like they lost a lot of guys. So where do you put for both these teams? Where do you put them? Because Mercedes was trying to create something, and so was Edinburgh North.
Well, I think what you've got here is a couple of teams that really don't know what they've got yet, and I think Coach Roger Donna would be the first to tell you that he's gonna try a lot of different different recipes, and different lineups and different rosters out there, and that's all this was. You've got scrimmages in the preseason, but sometimes you don't know what's happening until you get them out there and you put them in. You put the helmets on and it's a real game under the Friday night lights until you can figure out exactly what you've got out there. Mercedes fell behind while they were trying different things, and they're going to keep trying different things. And, Adame's a great enough coach to where he's going to figure out exactly what it's going to take to get a win. Now, Coach Damien over on the other side, he's doing the same thing. And he had a good lineup out there at first, and he was able to take a lead. But then when adjustments came and once again, he's going to have to try something different as well in the next game. He's going to have to put a different set of people out there and see what they're going to show. This was a game between two teams that really don't know what they've got yet and might not know what they've got until we hit October. That's my opinion on it.
Any other games that that's kind of struck you?
Well, I was interested to see Brownsville veterans and their new quarterback, Liam, the lefty Longoria, look really impressive out there. 219 total yards, 4 touchdowns, a couple on the ground, a couple in the air. He looked really good. They're going to be a good team. What exactly is up with Sherryland and their proclivity for overtime games? Because this team seems to always go to overtime. Their fans have got to be, they're taking their heart medicine, because they like went to 3 overtimes in their last playoff game, and then they went to overtime this time against Pace. Sherryland looks like a team that just wants to give the most excitement for for their games. But I really like that team.
I remember last year, Edinburgh North, they came down, put a bunch of plays together, scored late, and won that game. They've done it all year. Or last year, I mean.
Yeah.
I just think there's something in the DNA there that they, regardless of what year it is, their players can play in the fourth quarter. They're not going to get scared.
Yeah. No, I think you're absolutely right there. A couple of great performances I would like to note. LaGruya quarterback Dylan Salinas.
Very much.
Had that tough injury last year, but has come back in strong, and 5 touchdowns passing for him. He's my offensive player of the week. My defensive player of the week, J.P. Sandoval for Donna, the linebacker. So how's this for a game if you're a linebacker? How's a pick 6 for a touchdown? Pick 6, fumble recovery, and 2 sacks. That's not bad. That's not a bad day's work for J.P. Sandoval of the Donna Redskins. So those are a couple of big, huge performances that were definitely notable to me in week 1 of high school football.
Hey, here's one thing I actually want to talk about real quick. And
okay.
Somebody mentioned it online after I posted one of the highlights. Mm-hmm. Oh, I like that. Dance play. One of the plays for Harlingen, I cannot remember the player. One of the linemen came in there, blew up the quarterback. The ball flies in the air.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell if he was passing or if it was a fumble. So I naturally said it was I kind of called it both fumble and INT, or fumble and INT. I know it can't be both, but I had no clue on if he was, in the act of throwing or if it was a fumble. But it was a beautiful play because the ball never touches the ground, lands right in another fat man's hands, and they take it in. and look, for a lineman, they got to feel like it's Christmas Day when they're running with the ball and all they see is end zone. And they got they've got a lot of escorts with them. That's got to feel good.
Oh man, that's the best feeling ever for a lineman. I used to be a lineman. I would know. I never even sniffed an interception. Got a fumble recovery once, but I was smart enough not to try and get up with it. That's for sure. So
yeah, but regardless, I was impressed with Harlingen's defense against Pioneer. They had a lot of interceptions. They're going against a first timer at the helm, in Marburger. So, but they played Rosales well also when he came in. And I think that's going to be one thing we haven't really talked about yet. And we did talk about a little bit as far as who they should play. But, if they're going to be splitting time a la Tim Tebow when he was at Florida when they won the title first time, or what Alabama's going through right now, it's going to be difficult because you're not going to have that rhythm that you normally would, or you're not going to be able to establish that.
Yeah, that's true. But all that Pioneer has to do is take a look down the street at Sherryland. Has there ever been a team better at alternating quarterbacks, putting different quarterbacks in its series, than Coach Ron Adame and the Rattlers? They were never been scared of it. They weren't scared of it when Coach Sanchez was there either. They just take a quarterback, bring him out, take a quarterback, bring him out. Sherryland has always been great at doing that, and maybe it's transferred over to Pioneer. Maybe they'll be able to juggle a couple of quarterbacks as well. We'll have to see, but Cardinals were up 36-15 at half, If you're a quarterback, you don't want to come back out of the half and be staring into the teeth of the Cardinals with a 21-point deficit. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I mentioned Dylan Salinas, the LaGruya quarterback, 5 touchdowns passing. Jaime Galvan for Harlingen, he had 5 touchdowns passing as well. So it was a fantastic performance for him.
And he had some dimes in the end zone. There was a couple. I get to watch their huddle tape and tape. By the way, for the kids, if you're watching, it's something back when we were in school. But no, I got to watch the film on huddle. He threw some dimes. But Clay, it looks like they're starting up.
Hey, let's see. Yeah. Oh yeah, there they are. They're getting ready for some live music. So you and I better settle down here in a minute.
Oh yeah, Clay and the boys are about to start playing. But no, for everybody watching, we're gonna actually come back on Wednesday to do our picks. Gives us a little bit more time for research. And all in all, I will say this. This is the last thing I guess I want to talk about. I'm very surprised that Ed Couch, had the game they had against Corpus Christi Veterans Memorial.
All right, let's be fair. Corpus Christi Veterans is a great team that went 4 rounds deep last year. That being said, Ed Couch-Elsa has yet to score, and now they're going to Bobby Lackey Stadium against a Weslaco team that held Rowe to only 7 points. So it doesn't get any easier for La Máquina Amarilla in round 2, in week 2, I should say. And, Weslaco, those Mid-Valley teams, they don't like each other. I know the Ed Couch-Elsa and Mercedes, but Weslaco and Ed Couch-Elsa don't like each other either. So it's not like, they're going to be taking it easy on them. So that one's going to be tough. That one, we'll see what Bradley Chave's team has whenever they take on the Purple in Bobby Lackey Stadium. I'll be there on Thursday night.
That's right, you will. Well, I will be off on Thursday to go do whatever I want, finally. But that'll be one of my only Thursday games. But the music's starting to play, so that's almost like the Oscars. Oh, man. We'll be back on Wednesday to do our picks for Clay Williams.